What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, Gervonta Tank Davis' team states that they believe that Gervonta Tank Davis' superstardom has grown so much leaps and bounds due to his last fight that took place last April against Ryan Garcia that did 1.2 million pay-per-view buys, $23 million gate, the fifth highest gate in Las Vegas boxing history, which saw both guys take home over $30 million. It was so boosting that his upcoming fight in June against Frank Martin, the Ghost, that they believe that the Frank Martin fight is going to do bigger numbers than Tank Davis's fight with Ryan Garcia. Now, here's what's interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see if he got a shot of an adrenaline in boost when it comes from, did he have the momentum? Is he going to, that momentum going to carry over? Frank Martin is a very good fighter. Skill-wise, I think Frank Martin is going to be the best fighter Tank Davis has fought. As far as total skills, I think Frank Martin as a complete fighter is a more skilled fighter, more talented fighter, more athletic fighter, more gifted fighter than Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia has extremely fast hands, power in both hands, but he's not very committed. Frank Martin is fully committed to the sport. Ryan Garcia has slow feet. Frank Martin has very active, athletic, quick feet. Frank Martin is 1,000% committed to the sport of boxing. Ryan Garcia is not. There's a difference. Ryan Garcia is more popular, though. Now, Gervonta Tank Davis' biggest pay-per-views without Ryan Garcia was 250,000 pay-per-views, right? Now, that doesn't mean that he's going to resort back to that. What do you mean by that? When Floyd Mayweather fought Oscar the Golden Boy De La Hoya, he never looked back. But now when Floyd Mayweather had fought the Arturo Gattis of the world, he was doing those 250,000 numbers, 350,000, 450, that type of numbers, right? When Floyd fought Arturo Gatti, right? But once he fought Oscar De La Hoya, and he did what at the time was the biggest pay-per-view in boxing history, and it did 2.7 million pay-per-view buys. That was the biggest pay-per-view event in boxing history, right? And once he did those numbers, right, Floyd Mayweather with Oscar De La Hoya, he never looked back. Now, his next fight was against Ricky Hatton, and he didn't duplicate those pay-per-view numbers he did with Oscar De La Hoya, but he did well, right? Because now he's been fully announced and fully introduced to a crossover audience. Floyd Mayweather became a household name, okay? So, with that said, can Gervonta Tank Davis have the same momentum, right? Can that momentum carry over, right? So Floyd Mayweather with Oscar De La Hoya did 2.7 million pay-per-view buys. Floyd Mayweather and Ricky Hatton did 920,000 pay-per-view buys. A significant drop-off. Nearly 2 million pay-per-view drop-off. Right? He did 2.7 with Oscar. He did 900,000 with Ricky Hatton. So 1.8 million people didn't buy Floyd Mayweather's fights with the Ricky Hatton. They didn't buy the Ricky Hatton fight, right? Like they did with the Oscar De La Hoya fight. Why? Because Ricky Hatton is a superstar in the UK, and he had that fan base from the UK. Oscar De La Hoya had a different type of fan base though. He had the Mexican fan base, and Oscar De La Hoya also have the United States, and he was Olympic gold medalist. Okay, different type of breed of superstar. Ricky Hatton was a superstar, no doubt, and he had beaten Costa Zoo, and that got Ricky Hatton to be known, and he's a superstar in the UK. But it didn't translate like Oscar De La Hoya. And so when you look at Frank Martin has never fought for a world title, so obviously he's never won a world title. The biggest win was against Michelle Ali Rivera, Jackson Mariñez, right? So many people are not familiar with Frank Martin. They're just simply not. He's not a pay-per-view fighter. He doesn't have a major win, and he hasn't headlined a major card. Ryan Garcia has a fan base that has been built up through social media and his brand outside the sport of boxing. Endorsements from Gatorade and the NBA, 10 million plus Instagram followers. That don't include his TikTok and Twitch and Twitter and whatever else he has, Facebook and things of that nature. So Ryan Garcia has a different type of built-in superstar fan base that Frank Martin just simply does not have. He does not possess. So to think that Frank Martin is going to rival, because he's a good fighter, 18 wins, no losses, no draw, 12 wins by way of knockout, 29 years of age, African-American fighter. That's what everybody wants to see Gervonta Tank Davis do, fight an African-American fighter. We've been waiting for Gervonta Tank Davis. He needs to fight an African-American black slick fighter. Everybody's been clamoring to see Gervonta Tank Davis do so, right? But Frank Martin, again, I think he's overall a better skilled fighter than Ryan Garcia. But is he the superstar that Ryan Garcia is? No. No, you have tons of people already saying it's a cherry pick. So he does not possess the pizzazz, the attention, and the superstardom that Ryan Garcia possessed outside the sport of boxing. And again, Gervonta Tank Davis did 250,000 pay-per-view buys with Rolando Rolly Romero in New York, just 2-3 hours away from his hometown of Baltimore, where he broke the live gate. But it did 250,000 pay-per-view buys. Did a major gate, $5 million gate, but it didn't translate for pay-per-views. Frank Martin, now you do have the momentum. You do have Errol Spence is Frank Martin's promoter, and Errol Spence and Tank Davis have a relationship. They have a friendship. That's going to play a part. Who's Errol Spence is going to be there. Errol Spence is going to, be a part of it. Errol Spence and Tank Davis are very familiar with one another. So that's going to play a major part. Frank is not a big talker, but he can talk. But again, to do the numbers that he did with Ryan Garcia is a stretch. It's an absolute stretch. And on top of it, it's on a different format. That was on Showtime pay-per-view. This is going to be on Amazon Prime. The access is not the same. It's easy to turn on your TV, go to Showtime, and push buy. When it's on Amazon, and it's on the app, now you got to find where it's at on the app, how to connect it. If you're watching it on your TV, you buy the app on your phone or who knows, right? It's just more difficult to get to. So no, I think it's a bit of a stretch because Frank Martin is nowhere near the superstar Ryan Garcia is. He don't garner as much attention and he's not as popular. The interest for me is a much more competitive fight inside the ring. Frank Martin is a southpaw. He's slick, he's elusive. He's trained by two-time trainer of the year, well-renowned future Hall of Famer Derrick James. He's promoted by Errol Spence. He's committed to the sport of boxing. He's always locked in, always in the gym. He lives in the gym. He's always in shape. So no. But he's a better overall fighter. It's going to be a more competitive fight, in my opinion. But again, like I said, he's just not the superstar. That's a bit of a stretch. And you know, they have a lot of faith in Tank Davis superstardom. But guess what? It's going to put pressure on Tank Davis to do big numbers, because if you don't do big numbers, massive numbers, okay, or even come close to doing 1 million pay-per-views, and you telling the world that you have now surpassed Canelo Alvarez as the face of the sport of boxing, and Canelo Alvarez is consistent. Canelo Alvarez has done 4 pay-per-views that did 1 million pay-per-view buys. He also did another pay-per-view with Caleb Plant that did 850,000 pay-per-view buys, right? So even when he don't touch an M in pay-per-view buys, he still did quadruple the amount of pay-per-view buys that Tank Davis has done, or 3 times the amount, right? With Caleb Plant, he did pay-per-view with Floyd, 1 million pay-per-view buys with Floyd, 1 million pay-per-view buys twice with Triple G, and 1 million pay-per-view buys with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. And he did 850,000 pay-per-view buys with Caleb Plant. And then he has some sprinkling, some 500,000 pay-per-view buys. The trilogy with Triple G, I think, did like 400,000 to 500,000 pay-per-view buys. So he's a draw. He's consistent. And he's guaranteed purse is $35 million per fight. Guaranteed purse. Tank Davis' highest guaranteed purses, depending upon who you ask and what report you go off of, is 5 to 10 million. That speaks in itself. So let's see how this unfolds and plays out, man. It's an interesting fight. It's a much more competitive fight. And the fact that Tank Davis is going to take this fight coming off of a year layoff, kudos to Gervonta Tank Davis. Salute to him. And that's all I got for y'all, man. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Again, like I said, this is going to put pressure on Gervonta Tank Davis. Now you're going to have to put up. You're going to have to show the world you a superstar on your own too, when it comes to these pay-per-views. Period. Let's see how it unfolds and plays out. So I got. I'm gone. Peace.